Hello beginners, welcome to Cossacks 3 tutorial number 2. What I'm going to go through is the different settings you can have in a game. Here you choose your nation. Here you can set various difficulty enemy opponent played by the computer. By clicking color right here on this little flag, you can change your color. There's lots of different colors, and you can select your team as well. When you go into a multiplayer game, it's worthwhile to check this setting, additional options. You can set them differently. So start options, there's various ones. Army, you start with an army, big army, huge army, an army of peasants. That's where you start with a lot of peasants. Different nations, nobody ever plays this, but you start with 12 peasants from each nation. Then this one, towers, you start with a couple of towers. Cannons and hotwisers at the start of the game. 18th-century barracks, you can start with 18th-century barracks. Not all nations have 18th century. For them you will just get some extra barracks. Like for Algeria, say, you get 4 barracks. Alright, that's the start options. Then you have balloon options. That's just default. That means you have to research and unlock it. Some nations don't have a balloon, like Turkey and Algeria. You can set no balloons for everybody, or start with balloons for everybody. Another option, cannons. You can have no cannons, towers and walls, or you can have expensive cannons to limit the cannon use within the game, but not completely ban them out of the game. Peacetime speaks for itself. No peacetime ranges from that to 4 hours. 4 hours is a really long time. I don't know why that's even in there, but I guess some people like to play building games. 18th century options. You can disable it by putting never, or you can start it immediately. Capture is when enemy captures your peasants or your buildings, so you can have no capturing peasants, but they can still capture your town hall and your mines and steal peasants that way. Or you can disable capturing town halls, centers, because they are quite expensive. Or you can have capture artillery only. This is quite a popular option to stop any people trying to raid your base while your army is out. They'll have to come in with their own artillery or grenadiers or archers to destroy the buildings. Next is diplomatic center and market. You can disable diplomatic center. That's where you hire mercenaries with gold and you just spam them. They build really quickly, range from 1 second to 2 second build time. You can play without market. That disallows trading any resources in the game, so you have to be wise about where you send your peasants. So you gotta get wood, gold. So this game is kind of a bit slower than all the other games. It requires a bit more management of your economy. Upgrades, early investment in mines to get that reward later on in the game. Or you can play without both. So it just adds some variation to the game. Allies, say you've got some people in your team, like this guy. Say we team 1 and then these guys are team 2. Allies nearby, it means we'll be on one side of the map, whereas the enemy will be on the other side of the map. And default means it's a bit random. So one ally might be in the corner, you two might be in the other corner, and the enemy is just all in the middle. It allows you to choose basically anything you want. Here, start options. Alright, let's put everything to default, no peacetime. Capture, default. Alright, here, map shape, you have land. It's pretty obvious, it's just flat land, there's no water. Then you have the Mediterranean. That means there's water all the way in the middle, a sea in the middle. You can build fishing boats, you could build battleships. On a map size, on a tiny map size, those battleships can actually shoot at buildings because there's not much land, and they have long enough range to reach most of the land there. So I would advise increasing it to large if you're playing Mediterranean. Large. Then you have peninsulas. This is basically peninsulas. As you can see on the map here, you're on your own little peninsula with water running through in between the islands. You can build towers here, defend yourself. Next is islands. You basically start on a small island or several continents where you all get a big piece of land, a chunk of land, all surrounded by water also. Or you can have single continent map shape where you're all on a big continent, all surrounded by water. So it decreases the amount of land you have. So yeah, random speaks for itself. Map shape, it just gives you one of these randomly. And yeah, and single continent, if you play map size tiny, and millions. Oh, these are quite fun games because you barely have enough space to put any buildings, and you can just rush building all your buildings and kind of rush the other player, enemy player. It's fun for free-for-all kind of setting. 4 versus 4. Let's change this to land. Then you have these few options. Terrain type, you have plain, it's just flat land. Then you have low mountains. These are like little hills you can walk on and stand on. High mountains are big mountains that you can't cross. They're like barriers in the game. You have to walk all the way around them. Highlands is basically a mixture of all these low mountains and high mountains and plateaus. It's kind of hard to explain, so might as well just show you here. If I start Highlands here. Alright, here we have, these are high mountains, that one's a high mountain. Alright, this is a plateau, right? See, you can walk on with your units and kind of camp it out here. There we go, there's a hill, you can walk on any side of the hill. It's quite small, but it gives you a range advantage, so always use that. This is a very huge map. It takes a really long time to walk across. Let me actually time it from corner to corner for you boys and girls. I'll time it horizontally and diagonally at the same time. You can have a race. Right, I'm gonna pause this. So let these guys come here and the other guys into the other corner. Now we can pause the game. Right, off we go. We have units of 3 different speeds. We have a Hussar here, Crusader here, and a Pikeman. And there goes the finish. I'd say that took about 3 minutes for the Hussar. Let's see what the Crusader is. There he is, 3/4 along. Where's our Pikeman? There we go. About 1/3 of the way along. So as you can see, this Pikeman will take about 9 minutes to get all the way across the map. So as you can imagine, matching your army out into the map to attack another player, you can come in with some Hussars and maneuver around them and raid and that's attack from the flank, that kind of thing. So these maps are really open to strategy, really. Big strategy, big unit battles. Yeah. There we go, this guy just arrives now. That took about 4 minutes to go all the way across the map. There's the Crusader, there's the Pikeman, chugging along. Right, the Crusader's almost made it here. He's almost completed his journey. So yeah, this is a 4 times map, huge 4 times map. Alright, this Crusader's almost made it. Here comes the second Crusader, slightly stronger than the Hussar, but a lot slower. Boom. Right here, can you see on the map? You can't actually, well, I can't actually see where the Pikeman is. So this is just an idea. If you want to sneak into your opponent's base and he's in the corner, just send your little unit along the bottom of it and he will not detect you. He will not see you on the map. You'd have to be actually looking at the screen to actually see a Pikeman walking across the bottom of the screen. So this is the end of the world Don't fall off the edge, my friend. Don't fall off the edge. You're so close. Finally, 10 years later, huh? Okay, let me start with some gameplay now. Settings are land, plane, normal. Starting resources, that's just 1000 of each resource. Rich minerals and tiny map size. We won't have a opponent here, but there's no peacetime. Then I'm just gonna go with a European nation. Prussia. Let's go with Prussia. So I'm gonna explain to you how you develop your build here. The most important thing is food in this setting. So we'll start with a mill here. You want to send 9 people to build the mill, and the rest to build a town hall. See this? Every player has this starting resource patch. It's just a bit of wood and stone. So you can build your town hall here to collect the resources. And after the town hall is complete, you can build yourself a storehouse here. Right now, what you can do is start producing these peasants and get them to chop wood. Wood is more important than stone early game. Get these guys chopping this wood here. And then what we have to do is send everybody to this mill once it starts growing the crops. Once we have wheat, we have to send everybody to food. You can see, now that we have below 500 food, we can't build any more peasants or any more units. It's a kind of safety thing to prevent any starvation. So let's build the market and all go to food. What some people do is they stop building the peasants. They don't build any peasants at the start and they go for this improved grain crop treatment straight away initially. That gives you a little boost in peasants. Market is important because you can say this coal, you don't need the coal, so you just trade the 1000 coal for food. Iron you will need, so don't trade the iron, just trade the coal. Also you can trade the gold as well, but you need the gold for this upgrade. So it's worth getting this upgrade so you have that food production. And now you set everybody to get wood or stone, whatever you want. I would also advise getting a gold mine or 2. So let's get 2 gold mines here, because early in the game gold is very valuable and you can trade it for resources. So here let's build the smithy. Let's get these 3 guys to build the smithy so we can get our barracks. We have to get military units out very quickly in a 0 peacetime setting, so there's no peacetime here. So we need to go for that smithy as quickly as possible. So the gold mine is online now, so is the second one. You might be able to get away with 1 upgrade to the gold mine. So here we go, we can build a barracks now. 1 barracks costs a bit of gold to build. So here in the command card, the shortcut is B to build the barracks. But really what we want is 2 town halls, so we can produce more peasants and grow our economy twice as fast with 2 town halls. So by clicking on the barracks, control 1 or whatever you want to hotkey this to, kind of hotkey it and then right click to put an X here. So the next pikeman, when he's produced, it sends him to over here and it explores the map, so I'm not having to click on them and go like this, although you can do that as well. I just think it saves time sending them out like this, because you can just, in the middle of doing something, you just press 1, your hotkey for the barracks, click there and it'll send the next pikeman. You don't have to look for a pikeman, select him and click on it. It's just much quicker. So here we go, let's do 1 upgrade here, cost a bit of food and a bit of gold. These guys, we need to get ourselves an iron mine, because see this, we've run out of iron to produce pikemen, so we can no longer produce pikemen. Here, that mine just upgraded, you'll hear the sound, just send your peasants straight into there. And now see this extra gold that we just got, we just trade it for stone. And now we can build ourselves a second town hall. So that second town hall I would put here. And then send everybody back to stone over here. And here, this town hall, we've got a bit of food, so just put one town hall on food and one on wood. Also here, it's advisable to put a storehouse right there and right there for this wood, so they don't have to walk as far. Here, get this upgrade in agricultural equipment, field capacity plus 100%. It's quite worthwhile. So now we have a few pikemen. We've scouted the map a bit. It's time to go for an academy. So with this extra gold, I can try and get another upgrade in a gold mine. Don't see the enemy attacking me yet. Get these extra 2 gold mines. Alright. This one's upgraded, so that gives you a big gold boost in the early game. So now you can just trade for wood. Now you've got loads of wood. Build an academy. That takes a while to build. So after that's built, I want everyone back to stone. As you can see, this town hall is constantly going to food. This X, sending them to this spot. They either send the peasants to this spot or this spot, right behind the town hall. Because, as you remember from the first video, they walk into the corner right here, or right here. See how he's dumping the food there. So that saves the peasant walking all the way around to dump it there. He can dump it in the town hall as well. They do not dump food into storehouses, unfortunately. So now we have our academy. We can improve our wheat harvesting. That's another cheap upgrade. It's cost a bit of wood and gold. And now we want to build some drummers here to explore the map. So as they come out, you can just send them to explore the map. All sides. Check out where the enemy is. They give you a larger vision range than the pikemen. See this pikeman? Gives you this much vision range. You can see it. It's basically a screen worth of vision. And we want our second barracks. We're going to also build a church here. Remember, in this game, it's all about getting them troops because there's no peacetime. You have no idea when your enemy will attack you. It's better to have more troops than more buildings here. So constantly be producing troops. That's a must. So here now, because we have 2 barracks, we should have 2 iron mines and a coal mine. Coal mine will serve as this heal, medical heal, and you can actually start making some upgrades to this when you have food. I would trade gold at this stage in the game for some wood. Don't mind my timings. My timings are a bit slow here because I'm trying to explain stuff as well. So here, I would build a diplomatic center here. You can only build one of these in the game unless you steal the enemy's nation's peasants and develop that nation. You can have 2 diplomatic centers, or as many nations as you steal. Alright, so see, we can afford this upgrade now. So let's send these guys to wood, send these guys to stone. I'm just gonna hotkey all my military buildings here. And here we have a choice of round shears, light infantry, archer, grenadier, Sikh, Cossack, and dragoon. Let's just compare all these units. So you have the round shear here. He has 8 attack, 75 health. So this is kind of the tanky unit in the game. 9 bullet protection. So it's mainly to protect against bullets. Completely useless against enemy pikemen. He does 1 damage with the very shielded pikemen. This guy is terrible overall, but if you can send these guys in on a flank against enemy peasants, they will easily hack away at these peasants. See, these peasants have 20 attack, 50 health. These are 14 attack, 15 health. So they are formidable opponents against enemy peasants. So these are Great for like kind of sneak attacks around the corner, just massing against peasants and anything that's there to defend the base. But they're useless against anything else. Like round shears will kill this guy off easily. Archers, they're good in large numbers, so they build pretty quickly. Cost 6 gold. There's little descriptions here you can read as well. When you click on the diplomatic center, it tells you what all the units do. So the archer has 20 basic attack, and when he fires the arrow, it's not very accurate. That's why you need loads of them. So you select all of them and then fire clumps of enemies to do a lot of damage, because the arrows are random and most of the arrows will hit if you fire them at clumps of enemies. Here we have a second fire arrow attack that is against buildings. Like this, for instance, if I have 45 archers, I can destroy the diplomatic center with every archer firing 1 arrow. So some of these have different healths here. The barracks have 40,000 health, so you need a lot of archers to destroy that. It's better destroying the smithy, because if you destroy the smithy, you basically stop the production of enemy pikemen or units. So let's send these guys to there to stone. I'm just gonna show you what starvation looks like. So here I'm running out of food. About to run out of food. And you should be able to hear the people starving. Alright. Can you hear them starving? See, this guy's just died there. So they randomly just start dying because you have no food. See, they're just dropping. The more people you have, the faster they die. So let's bring these boys back onto food. Also in emergency you can just trade some other resources for food and you're safe. So just look out for that noise. Right here, the last 3 units. These are more versatile, more powerful. Grenadiers. Now Pike Attack. They don't have much health, but they have firepower of 15. So they can shoot. Also very strong in large numbers against enemy Cossacks. Say enemy Cossacks wants to, attack them, they can defend themselves pretty easily. Unlike the Dragoon, if the enemy Cossack comes at this ranged Dragoon, the Dragoon can't fire at close range, so he's going to be running away. But because he's slower than the Cossacks, he's always going to be able to keep up and just kill the Dragoon. So the Cossack counters the Dragoon, the Grenadier counters the Cossack. Because by the time the Cossack gets there, there's shots being fired, and then the Grenadier can go into melee and kill the Cossacks. Cossack also counters archers, and is about on par against these guys and these guys. It just has more health, but a bit less attack. So yeah, Dragoons. These are a very special unit. They are used for kiting. If enemy just has pikemen here, you can kite him all day pretty much, all the way back to your own base. And so here we have, say I build another Dragoon here, you can see the price will go up by 2 gold every time. So to stop that, so you already have 2 Dragoons and you want to build 100. So that 100 is going to cost you 100 times 104, 10,400 gold, right? So that will get you 100 18th century of these mercenary Dragoons. But if you kill these 2, it now costs 100, right? Even though you've lost 2, you can build an extra 2, so 100, boom boom, you can build them extra 2 back and still be below, the initial gold cost. So you've spent 10,200 and you still have the same amount as you would have before. You just saved yourself 200 gold, because as you can see the price goes up now. If I was to queue some more, they'd be quite expensive here. 140 a piece, 142. This goes up pretty high. That's why you just want to save gold, save like enough for 100 Dragoons or 200 or 300, however many you want to save for. Not in this short game, obviously. This short game you usually go for 6 Cossacks to try and quickly raid your opponent. or archers to quickly destroy his buildings. Whatever tactic you go for, whatever suits you, whatever you feel comfortable with, wherever you think will work. Most people go for the sick Cossacks because you can just get to the enemy base really quickly and surprise him and try and steal some of his peasants and damage economy, that kind of thing. So yeah, these dragoons, you can also put them in formation like that. You put them in formation, not many people do this, but it gives them +1 attack, +1 defense, which is a little bit useful against enemy dragoons, enemy shooters. So let's cancel this. Archers also can form formations on their own like that, see? So can the light infantryman. This guy forms formations on his own. But the round shears, see, you can't form a formation with him. So you will need an officer and a drummer to form a formation with round shielders and also with grenadiers. Keep that in mind if you want to form formations with them. Don't forget your housing or town halls, they provide housing as well. Barracks, you know, enough gold for another set of barracks here. You can also build a stable. 3 stables, another church. You know, that all adds up with unit counts. So as you can see, they have over 240 pikemen, but we're 24 minutes into the game. It's not a lot of pikemen. The early stages of the game. So here we can set formations, different type of formations here. This is a little bit bugged right now. We rank formation. You can set 120 pikemen, 72 pikemen, 36 pikemen, 196 pikemen, or the maximum we can have is 400 pikemen. When you have 400 pikemen, it gives you a bigger bonus. So let's set here 196 pikemen. Right, I'm playing as Prussia. Let's just add more pikemen here. Don't mind this. This is just a cheat because I'm in single player. This is just to show you. You can't actually do this in game. But yeah, press www, hit enter, and then press P, and then you can select a nation and then select, say, the pikemen to build loads of them. Press space to cancel that, and then we set this formation 400 pikemen. As you can see, it gives them +3 attack, +3 defense, whereas the other formations give them +2 attack, +2 defense. Here, if we press the stand ground button, at the bottom it will have a bar filling up. There you go, can you see that bar filling up at the bottom? When that fills up after about 30 seconds, they get +7, +7. So +7 attack, +7 defense, which is very, very powerful against enemy shooters and enemy cavalry that tries to attack you. It would basically turn these guys into a rock solid wall. With some upgrades here to defense also, they will be very, very strong. This upgrade for the pikemen, because they're armored units, research improved steel grades for cuirasses, armored soldiers defense +2, that gives them +2 defense. There's another upgrade here, but this costs a lot of gold and iron to upgrade that. So there, can you see that 2 + 7, that's 9, and then these are various protections against swords. This one's against pikes, that one's against bullets. Bottom left is against the arrows, then cannonballs, and finally Grapeshot. Here we can build some raiters and some 17th century dragoons. Let's do our fields up, get that research, get that done. The thing with the archers, if you build loads of them, they build very, very quickly and they take up all your housing, so gotta watch out for those. These shooter units, you've got to remember they take iron and coal to fire, quite a lot actually. Can't remember how much, I think it's 6 iron and 9 coal per shot, which is quite a lot. So if you're gonna go into a prolonged engagement with the enemy, make sure if you ever run out of coal or iron, trade wood or stone, or some food if you have extra food, or gold if you're really desperate, coal and iron, just to win that fight. So yeah, these have gold upkeep, so passively these guys eat a lot of gold. So if you have loads of them, your gold will actually start going into the negative and you start losing gold because they just require so much upkeep. And what I forget to mention is that if your gold goes to 0, there's this thing called Mutiny, where your mercenaries start rebelling and start attacking your own troops. The other units that require upkeep is these, Officer, 17th century, and also the native dragoon 18th century. These are more powerful than the mercenary dragoons once you advance into 18th century, so let's do that now. We need key buildings to advance into 18th century. We need ourselves a cathedral. We've got one. We need ourselves a artillery depot. We're gonna build ourselves one now. There you go, artillery depot. And we also need an academy, which we also have. Here with the stance to protect them. Because the pikemen take some time to lower their pikes, you always want to leave them in their attack stance. This button here, move and attack, that one. Shortcut for that is A. You click A and then put the formation here. Then don't forget to put stand ground here. They get that bonus after 30 seconds. These guys don't get the bonus because the cavalry, only infantry get the bonus. So here we have our own dragoons, 17th century. We can obviously improve the firepower here and the defense of these guys. So now they have 14 firepower. That should go up to 15 firepower, right? And there's the defenses. These guys are armored. They also benefit from the armor accuracies upgrades, the extra 2 to defense. So we're carrying upgrading. So with these shooters, you can also upgrade, and with these musketeers, let's build some musketeers now. Upgrade them. You can upgrade their attack speed with this. Design wheel lock, rate of fire plus 30%, and also this one. And this one, design paper cartridge and iron ramrod, rate of fire plus 30%. The second one is a little bit more expensive than the first upgrade, but they affect the attack speed of your dragoon units. The only thing they don't affect is mercenary dragoons and grenadiers. They don't affect their attack speed whatsoever. So these only affect your own unit's attack speed. And these ones, this one, improved firearms, rifled barrel, firepower plus 10%. Research granular gunpowder plus 10% gunfire bonus. Research new sulfur purification methods, firepower plus 15%. And this final one is quite a lot of gold, 21,000 gold. Research new natural purification methods, firepower plus 25%. If I research this one, these, if we remember, have 20 attack. This one has 16 attack. Once that is done, this now has 20 attack. This has still 20 attack. So that research, it only affects your own units. It doesn't affect the mercenary units. 14 attack plus 7, that's 21 attack. 2 plus 7, it's 9 defense. Against enemy pikes plus 11, that's 20 defense. So any enemy pikemen that come at these guys, they'll be doing 1 attack. As it drops down to 1 attack, if the armor is higher than the attack. So it'll take them 90 little attacks just to kill 1 pikeman. And with some priests here healing up these pikemen, you know, your enemy is gonna find it really hard to get through. Plus backed with some shooters here. Let's build ourselves an officer and a drummer. Here we also can research these other ones. Multiplicative research here. So now from 22 to 25. So they kind of multiply the base attack value of these guys, which is really useful. There's no specific order that you can upgrade them in. They all take the base unit stats, they go off that. So now 27 attack. These don't cost any gold upkeep, the 17th century dragoons. You can see after that last upgrade, they have 28 firepower, plus the attack speed. So plus 30 attack speed, that's plus 60 attack speed. These are way more powerful than these mercenary dragoons with only 20 attack. And they have some defense values as well. See here, we can either make a formation of pikemen or musketeers. So let's make a formation of musketeers here. Also an extra formation of pikemen. With this, it's better to have your units up close next to each other in a big clump, because they'll all be shooting and attacking. Just imagine your enemy sends about, I don't know, 120 pikemen here in waves. You know, these will easily defeat waves of pikemen. But if your enemy comes with an equal-sized army and attacks you, well, who's going to win that one? It's going to be pretty even matchup. It will depend on your little army micro and who engages first. So if your enemy is spread out like this, like if you're spread out like this, like your formations are like this, you attack the enemy will kill this first, then this, and then finally you guys at the back. But if you keep them all together like this, all pumped up with the healers as well, this is just unstoppable, and you just send this into attack. in this formation. This is the most effective formation because it protects your shooters. It means everybody in this line gets to attack very quickly. Whereas if you have a box formation, see how much thicker that is. So people at the back, they will take a while to get to the front of the line and start attacking. So it's much better to be squished up like this than unsquished like this. So make sure you have them in a line. Plus, you can concave around your enemy, so you can surround them a little bit. It means your army is attacking them more than they are able to attack you. That's also an advantage here. Alright, so we have all our buildings now to Advanced Century. Let's click that. That's in the town hall. It costs 4,000 wood, 10,000 gold and some iron. It's different for different nations. Some nations don't have 18th century upgrade, but now with that you've unlocked yourself this Design Montgolfier, which is basically a balloon to reveal the map. And there it is. It goes up and now the whole map is revealed. You can see the whole map. We don't need to send scouts. So that's what advancing to the 18th century does. Here we can stop this production because these are now inferior units to 18th century units. So we can build Crusaders and these Dragoons. But don't forget about the gold upkeep. We don't have to worry now because I'm cheating. Making lots of money. So here these upgrades are fairly expensive. So even though your enemy might be building, or you might be building Crusaders, it might be better off if you carry on with these Raiders if you've fully upgraded them, because these upgrades aren't as expensive as these ones for the Crusader or the Dragoon of the 18th century. But the Dragoon of the 18th century starts with 30 attack already with all the upgrades, as you can see. So it actually might be better off building these initially. But the Crusader, quite expensive upgrades. Let's go through them. First one cost 1,000 food, some gold. This one's not too bad, the defense upgrade. Now it's getting expensive, 2,000 iron, almost 2,000 gold and 34,000 food. These guys get expensive too. You go 64,000 food and 2,000 gold, 3,000 iron, 3,000 gold, 3,000 food for defense. For attack now, 58,000 food, 4,000 gold, very expensive. 3,000 gold and some food. So defense upgrades are a little bit cheaper than attack. Another 59,000 food and 3,000 gold, very gold heavy. Gold and iron for this next defense upgrade. 8,000 gold for the last attack upgrade, which gives +3 attack, and 47,000 food. Last defense upgrade costs 16,000 iron, 5,000 gold. Very expensive indeed. Here what you can also do is increase the mounted units recruitment speed by 2. So if I click on that, these take now 21 seconds, so they should take 10 and a half seconds to build. With that upgrade, 14 seconds. So it lied, it's not twice as fast. But yeah, it kind of speeds up the recruitment of them. Also what you can do is this upgrade forge new types of broadswords and sabers. Cavalry and sword clansmen attack +5. So these guys will get +5 attack. So now he's on 19 attack. The Crusader is on 24 attack. That is a little bit cheaper than his last attack upgrade. See, that gives +5 attack there. +5, that was 19 and now it's 24. So as you can see, this guy is much stronger than the Raider. Finish upgrading the Raider so we can compare. Also build ourselves a 18th century barracks here. We build 2 of these. And because they take ages to build, they have a lot of health. You should get this raise builder's salary upgrade from the academy. Decreases construction time by 75% for all buildings and walls included. Alright, a few more upgrades. So now we can take this. Armored soldiers defense +2. 18th century barracks getting built. See how slow they are, they're still not built. Finish these upgrades. Let's split these by type. Raiders, Crusaders, 18th century Dragoons. These take a while to build, 18 seconds, whereas the mercenary Dragoons take 2 seconds to build. Much quicker, but much weaker as well. So here we go, we can compare now Raiders to Crusaders. So 29 attack compared to 27 attack. So you have 16 defense, 13 defense, 10 defense, 18 defense, 13 defense, 6 defense. The main one here is this one, bullet protection, because in late game many people have lots of shooters, so you need more bullet protection more than anything else. So here, protection against pikes basically the same. Against swords, more protection. So these are good against arrows as well. So against Turkey or Algeria, mass archers. But yeah, these are both tanky units. It's just the Crusaders are a little bit tankier when it comes to enemy shooters. So here we go, 56 attack with all the max upgrades. That is more than double than the Mercenary Dragoons. Plus the attack speed, so they are easily twice as effective. I'd say 3 times as effective as the Mercenary Dragoons. So this little group of 27 will easily wipe the floor with these Dragoons. Plus, mercenaries cannot be healed by this academy upgrade, develop medical science. They can only be healed by these priests or popes. Remember that always. Here we have barracks completed. We have the pikemen here. We have musketeers and grenadiers and some drummer and officer to form formations from the 18th century units. Good old pikemen. They build very quickly. As you can see, only take 1.5 seconds. Musketeers take 6 seconds, grenadiers take 7 seconds. It's different for different nations, but here we are. Prussian musketeers with max upgrades have 35 fire rate attack. Grenadiers have 25 attack. So these are better ranged units. Grenadiers have shorter range, but they have better melee attack. So if the enemy charges at you with cavalry or infantry, these have 18 attack, whereas these pikemen should have +2. So yeah, in a formation they have 18 attack. So these guys, the grenadiers with no upgrades, have 18 attack. So let's give them +2 attack. They are better than the 17th century pikemen. So this adds to the cold steel weapon attack. As you can see, it doesn't add to the firepower of these units. It only adds to this pike attack. So see, now that's 20. Upgrade this. Then also build ourselves more of these so we can do the upgrades a little bit faster. 6 is ideal. They go up in price as you build them. Like the 7th one will cost you almost 1,000,000 gold. Nobody has 1,000,000 gold. Nobody builds a 7th one. I've never seen this happen in a millions game even. So yeah, 6 is like the top number you'll see of 17th century barracks. See about 3 of these, maybe 4 17th century barracks and 6 of these. Let's do some more upgrades. These muskets 22 attack, 25 attack. So the dragoons are a little bit better, but they're not as agile as the dragoons. So here we go, grenadiers 32 pike attack now. It's not even completed the upgrades. See, +6 on the next upgrade. Also these pikemen have now 15 attack. We keep going now. Now with the grenadier, because they can throw grenades at enemy buildings, let me demonstrate this. Here a barracks. You can send some grenadiers here to attack it. Let's see, that's going down very slowly. Also, if your enemy gets an upgrade, like this, durability of buildings +85. It doesn't matter how many grenadiers I send, the health will barely go down. So this research is now complete. Smithy research adds building defense +50. Alright, so this building basically becomes invulnerable with those upgrades. You would need a large amount of grenadiers to destroy it and some time on your hands. See how slowly the health is going down. 135 defense against grenades. So what happens with these last upgrades for the grenadiers attack? It increases the fragmentation grenade efficiency. Costs quite a lot of gold, 15k gold, but it means they can destroy this pretty quickly. So let's take away half of them. So when that upgrade is complete, you shall see just a few taking down this building with ease. Just like that. So that's with maximum upgraded grenadiers. The last upgrade gives them that fragmentation ability. 1500 increase in the damage they do to buildings. So there we go. 38 pike attack, more than pikemen. 18th century pikemen, 21 pike attack. So these are very, very strong units indeed. Musketeers, they're stronger on the firepower. side of things. Only 22 Pike Attack. Grenadiers are stronger overall, but Musketeers have longer range and higher ranged attack damage, not melee. What else? Watch out for officers as well. The enemy builds officers, upgrades them as well. They are very powerful units. Do not underestimate them whatsoever. You see your enemy building lots of officers. You need your own officers for sure to counter them, or some ranged units to kite them. They only have 5 protection against bullets, 70 attack with the upgrade, 150 health, and 8 defense against pikes, against swords, 5 protection against bullets. So they have a lot of attack compared to the 17th century pikemen. See that? Less attack. They take a little bit slower to build, but one of these can take on his own 3 pikemen, so they're 3 times as strong. Just to show you what the formations are. Make a formation from 160, 90, or 40 cavalry. Just make 161. So this first one, this rank formation, it puts everybody in a square like this. This wedge formation is like that, like a point, like an arrow. So this is very good for crusaders, for engaging the enemy and splitting them up. And then we have assumed square formation. This kind of defends your flanks a bit more against enemy flank attacks, and less so on the front. Bad boy officers, they take gold for upkeep, but they are very powerful, and they should be used as a last resort if the enemy is almost at your base, knocking at your door. Defend yourself with officers. And also they are very good at defending against enemy sick Cossack raids, so if you set them as guards like this, press G to set them as guards. So all your mines, all these peasant buildings, storehouses, town halls. I wouldn't put them on housing. Housing's cheap to replace. Just the mines that you've upgraded, or you don't want your enemies stealing your peasants from your mines. So you do that. With the officers, they are very good defenders against enemy sick Cossack mercenaries. Sometimes in the game, if it's a 1 versus 1, if you look down here on the map, say he's opposite you on this side, you can actually get some spare peasants, and if you want a bit of extra gold, you just grab these gold mines. There's only 2 here, 3, and then protect them with about 6 to 8 officers, like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each time you press set guard, it sends 2 officers to guard them buildings. So it's sending these peasants to build the mines, and so if the enemy happens to discover your mines here and wants to take them with sick Cossacks, he can't, because the 8 officers will match about 200 sick Cossacks with ease. So he will have to bring his army or some shooters to get rid of these mines and deny you that gold. And if you see him doing that, just don't forget to blow up your mines with the delete key. If you think your enemy is about to take your mines, unless you're playing with no capture options, where you can only capture artillery, then you're safe then. So a musketeer formation here. You take this hill, gives them a longer range. Pikemen. These pikemen of the 18th century, they have no bullet protection, bear that in mind. They're not good against enemy ranged units, they're good against other melee units or cavalry. Let's put these grenadiers in this formation. Here we go, stand ground. That should give us the bonus as well. Eventually. Not everybody gets a stand ground bonus. These guys do. Sometimes there's a kind of bug in the game, in multiplayer, where they don't gain this bonus. So here we go, grenadiers. Got their +7, +7, +7 to everything. Pikemen about to get it. Musketeers +7, +7, +7. These guys. +7/+7. There we go. So stand ground is really powerful, especially on a hill. Let's get some enemy units here for the enemy team. Let's see how well they hold up against some Crusaders right here. See that range? That is just huge. So over here we have about 300 Crusaders. Let's send them to attack here. Wow. That's how easily they get dispatched. Only 4 pikemen lost. This is how powerful the stand ground formation is. So if you're on a hill, it increases the range of your units and your enemy just cannot break through. One thing your enemy might bring is these, they're called multi-barreled cannons. They're very good against unarmored units. That is what you have the protection for the Grapeshot. This is the Grapeshot going down. See, they just take down the units with ease. They will also take down the Musketeers and Grenadiers. They're kind of far away. They're behind the pikemen. So what the enemy can build is some hot wires and some artillery, some cannons. Cannons have a high range. You just fire like that and miss. They fired over the hill. So that's a better shot. Hot wires. See, they have to roll up to fire. They shoot more over things. So they're good at taking down buildings or shooting over walls or taking down towers. Also, what you can do with cannons is bombard an area. So you can bombard a particular area like that. They will just keep bombarding it. You can have some defensive towers here. You can build them on the hill. You can upgrade your towers here. Increase number of defensive cannons, so it increases their attack speed basically. And here, see that's burning, so you can increase their defense in the academy. This one, durability of walls and towers +80, so they won't be able to get destroyed as easily. Also artillery have health. See the 2000 health. What you can also do is increase their durability by 50%. Right there, with that upgrade, design more durable gun carriage. Gribovile system, show durability. You can also upgrade their range. Quite a lot of iron, almost 50,000 iron to increase the range. This first upgrade, only 20,000 iron for the increased range. Then you have repair all artillery also, as well as the heal all live units, so you can repair your artillery. These multi-barrel cannons that I showed before, they need the researching first, but the research is quite cheap. And here we have artillery accuracy. One upgrade for that and another upgrade which costs 57,000 coal. It's quite a lot, but it means you can more accurately fire at buildings, take them out. I prefer not to do them upgrades because, say your enemy has an army, it's better if their shots a bit more spread out and more random. It gets a bigger clump of enemies killed. So here we have the artillery depot. We have also these units called Bombards. Let's build some of these for the enemy. They are extremely long-range units. So there we go. They shoot very high in the air, basically shower the area. So anybody standing around this area will get killed. Let's put some Musketeers here for Team 1 around here, just to show you what happens. So these guys, they have to roll up a bit before they can shoot. Once they shoot, let's destroy all these. Alright, they're shooting now. See, they're just showering that area. This is where accuracy helps these guys target down the turrets, the towers. But yeah, these are very good for sieging your enemy. Your enemy is heavily bunkered up and has walls. You can fire over them, destroy any building you want. The mortars, the bombard. So they don't have any upgrades in the artillery depot. Take 30 seconds to build each one. Then we have the hotwisers here. Cost quite a bit of wood, gold and iron. Cannons, a bit more gold and iron. These require gold for upkeep. They require gold to fire also. They don't spend gold to fire, they spend a lot of iron and coal to fire. And there's these upgrades. Foundry mechanization decreases cost by 20%. Usually you'd get all these upgrades before you start building them, so the cannons are quite cheap. Then you have develop new metal working methods, speed up building by 20%. So it speeds up the time that it takes for them to be produced. Like this one, it takes 2 minutes to produce a cannon. It's quite a long time. So here's some cannons right there. See, the price doesn't go up the more you build. So like this. Also do this research. This price doesn't go up of these multi-barrel cannons either. So yeah, once they're unlocked with this research, you can then start building them. See, you can only build 5 of each one, 10 mortars and 5 multi-barrel cannons, so you would actually need a few of these if you want to build more. So with 4, you can do all these 4 upgrades at the same time for artillery depots, and you can build all these cannons. They're quite fun to use, but not many people use them in games. They're a bit tricky to use. It's best if you kind of hotkey them and have them on your separate hotkey, because it's very hard to micro them. Like these guys, they have friendly fire, so they're in the middle of your units without any armor. Like these guys, they have no armor against Grapeshot. They're basically useless, but you can put these in the middle of these pikemen. They have 210 Grapeshot protection. They're basically invulnerable to Grapeshot. Multi-barrel cannons are also invulnerable to Grapeshot. So the only way you can kill these is by using some cannons or hotwisers to kill this artillery. See, they have 5,000 attack, they will kill for fun. These guys have 1800 attack. These have 4000 attack. These are best against buildings, best against long range, for long range shots against enemy attacks. Hotwisers are also good, but they are great against buildings. Alright, what happens if your enemy, like me, I have lots of artillery here, and you're trying to attack? You would use your own artillery. That is the only way to counter artillery, is to use your own artillery. Because pikemen, they're pretty strong at defending their own artillery. So you will not be able to storm these guys, especially if they're backed up by some shooters in the back. You will not come close to the enemy cannons to capture them. So the only way to destroy them is to fire with your own cannons at them. So you kind of have a mini cannon battle. Once you like retreat more and more, your enemy kind of gets a little bit comfortable and brings his cannons out all the way to the front without any support, of course. And then you're just coming with some cavalry units and capture them. Don't bring hussars, because these will just mow down hussars like there's no tomorrow. See that? Just kills them for fun in little pumps. But yeah, see, you capture this because the enemy's not defending it, and then you can use it to fire back if it's not destroyed. Like this. You can upgrade cannons, only cost gold. You can also bombard an area like here. Say bombard that area. I don't want anybody crossing that. Boom. You will just keep shooting at it until it stops. So if the enemy is attacking, so you have like a wall here, the enemy has broken through this wall, you just target fire this spot, because you know your enemy is going to walk through here. You just keep firing at that spot. You can do the same with these cannons. You say fire there, fire here. So if you have a breach in your wall for some reason, you just still defend against that without actually clicking on this tower shooting somewhere else where you don't want it to shoot. You want to shoot at this entrance point. So when your enemy tries to come in, boom, always explosions going on here. Like that. Boom, 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 boom. Some of it will hit your own walls, but don't worry. Your main job is to stop the enemy from coming into your base. We have this food upgrade, harvesting plus 250%, that you can get after you get into 18th century. That gets unlocked. That is good to know. Ukraine, the only nation that has this in the 17th century, but Ukraine doesn't have 18th century. And it's actually a really cheap upgrade. So if you ever get to play as Ukraine, go for food. Go for that upgrade. It only costs 5,000 food. Around 1,000 gold and around 2,000 iron, so it's pretty cheap upgrade. Here in the academy we have this upgrade, design flintlock, musket cost minus 50%. So here if you want to go for mass musketeers, because they cost 80 gold each, which is quite a lot. That's almost as much as mercenary dragoons. So with that upgrade they now cost 40 gold. Halves their gold cost. Design bayonet, barrel inserted bayonet with a tube. Cold steel weapons plus 5. So your grenadiers and your musketeers will have an increased attack. Pike attack now. 27 and now 43. And also in here you can do the same thing. 18th century musketeer grenadier melee attack plus 5. That's quite a cheaper upgrade from the smithy. They should have 48 attack, 48 plus 2, they have 50 attack, the melee attack. That's just crazy. Anything comes into contact with them, especially in stand ground, it's just not getting through. That's obviously the building defense upgrade. And this last one, very expensive, 18th century musketeer grenadier melee attack efficiency plus 25. I like to think of it as attack speed. So 32, 40. So it just increases that attack even further. So now they have 60, plus with that stance, 67 melee attack. Grenadiers are just superior units in terms of melee, destroying buildings. They have a bit of firepower as well, but not as much as musketeers. Musketeers have 900 range, I think. These have only 750. So musketeers will kill the grenadiers before they even get close. So grenadiers are useful defending your lines against cavalry. They are very efficient at killing cavalry. So they have almost as much as attack as these 17th century officers. Not as much health, and they don't have bullet defense. So as you can see, these officers are pretty strong from the 17th century, and you can get them quite early on with just 2 upgrades. They're extremely strong units, arguably the strongest units in the game. If we upgrade the 18th century officers, their attack goes up to 150, 12 defense all around. So these are even more powerful. Double attack. They cost 200 gold though, very large amount of gold, and even more gold for upkeep, but they are very strong. 150 attack, 150 health. These will take down cavalry in 2 shots basically, whereas these guys will take 3-4 shots. Is these hussars for Prussia, since I'm playing as Prussia. These hussars are the fastest building in the game, so if you ever face Prussia, expect some of these units coming your way. They're very quick, very good for raids, and they're actually very strong with max upgrades against 17th century pikemen. They're good against these guys, the dragoons, because they can chase them and stop them from attacking, because they're close ranged. They have to kind of move away before they can attack the Hussars. So these are really good for maneuvers. These are very good for taking out enemy weak spots, because you can take them all the way around the enemy. Let just me demonstrate how they work. Second nation here. Lots of stables here. Town halls for population. Unlike the Crusaders, the Hussars cannot form formations, so they don't get formation bonus like the cavalry here. Let's get some Crusaders in formation. See, they get +1/+1 here. So do these Dragoons. +1/+1. It's not much really. Typical 1,000 Hussars. We spread them out now. As you can see, they cover quite a long range. So the way they attack is, you want to concentrate them on a single spot. That's how they're most effective. You just send 1,000 at this pikeman, and then at these guys. They will just chainsaw their way across the enemy like this. About 900 of them left. Facing the Crusaders here. Pretty tough units. Yeah, as you can see, just kind of more efficient in a big clump. Well, a small clump, but there's 700 of them in here. One cannon shot, one good cannon shot into this clump will kill lots and lots of units, so beware of enemy artillery. So as you can see, 1,000 is just ripping through these Dragoons now. No problemo. No problemo. I think they're pretty much done for. Let's send the next 1,000 at these pikemen. But what they don't know is I've got some artillery coming here, like this way. So let's send these guys. See how they're just taking down these pikemen with ease. That one shot from this. Now boom. Few artillery shots. Did you see that? I lost all of my cavalry because I wasn't careful around here. If you're facing a lot of artillery with Hussars, and you're like, oh damn, I should have went for Crusaders this game. But it's a bit too late to change your upgrades and re-upgrade your Crusaders and start building them up. So say you have now 1,000 of these. The way to go about cannons is just spread out, spread the hell out. Don't want to be concentrated and killed in one little clump. So here, let's bring some of these guys forward to defend the cannons here. Make it a bit more realistic. So now, what you want to do with the Hussars is you want to actually run. Just run into here like that. Don't attack, because they will start clumping up. Just run. Once you get to the artillery here, it disables them because the artillery cannot fire in close range. And then you just finish off the enemy right here. So make sure you leave some here to capture the artillery here. There we go, and just send them like this against artillery. Against these guys, I'm gonna send them in clumps like that, preferably on the flank. You just mow them down like that. That's how you control Hussars, or say Cossacks. Yeah, they're very fast, very good, and very fun to play with. So this artillery has auto fire. see they're just firing at buildings. So if they come near buildings, they will fire at buildings or enemy units or enemy artillery. It's quite useful to know. Boom, they just destroyed that tower because it was trying to destroy them. The village has been captured. So don't forget, after the raid, so your enemy doesn't recapture like this guy just recaptured his stuff back. You want to start destroying the mines that you captured, like that, the housing that you captured. Boom, just destroy everything. So if you have a successful raid, burn them buildings down. Let's just end it on that. The mass hussars. So now you know how to play with these and how to counter them and how to counter your counter. Yeah. So as Prussia, hussars are better than the dragoon option because they build much quicker. You can see 8 seconds compared to 18 seconds. You get a lot more of them out. They don't require gold for upkeep. They're quicker and they counter dragoons. And they use mostly for map control. So if you have map control, you can do a lot more. Your enemy can't flank you, you can flank the enemy. The enemy tries to move out with his army to your base, you can just come into his base with your hussars and go raid for free. So yeah, unless they have stone walls, then you can't really run in. But if they have these wooden walls, these palisades, like this, the hussars can actually destroy these, like that. Destroy wooden walls. But if it was a stone wall, like that, they cannot destroy that. See? You can destroy the wood, but not the stone. That's all the buildings pretty much covered, apart from the shipyard. Here, you can only build it next to water. We couldn't build it here because there's no water here. We can build little fishing boats, yachts that shoot stuff, ferries that you can load troops on and ferry them across rivers and oceans. Then you have galley. It's a long-range unit. It's a bit like this unit, like the Bombard. Then you have a frigate, which is quite expensive. Then you have ship of the line, which requires lots of gold for upkeep. A really long build time of over 10 minutes to build one of these bad boys, but they're very, very strong. They require an upgrade to get built in the academy. These boats, they are quite expensive for wood, but you can decrease that cost in the academy and also decrease the build time of the boats and increase the efficiency of the fishing boats, so they fish much more food. On any water map, it's always advisable not to go for fields but go to boats for fishing. They will provide you with absolute millions of food, and they go up in price actually. So it's actually building one here. They go up in price. Let's just build one to show you that it goes up in price. So you're better off queuing about 300 of these. They also take population, so don't build too many. 300 is maybe, I'd argue, too much. Yeah, about 200 to 300 queued up will serve you enough food for the rest of the game, for the rest of your life actually. Here we go. Now it costs 630, so that's a 5% increase each time you build one. So this is what the ships look like. I'm just spawning them on the land. So the ship of the line just continuously shoots non-stop. Very high attack speed. Land ship battles. Right, I'm gonna end it here. I'm starting to troll this tutorial guide for you. But yeah, have a mess about in the editor. Mess about. You can unlock this by pressing www, select the nation, click to spam units. So if you're ever losing against a bot or the impossible bots, you can just spam some units into the pace. Shh, I won't tell anybody. HYPPS!